Both of these diseases are serious diseases. They're major public health problems. Syphilis is by far the more serious of the two diseases because untreated it can lead to blindness, paralysis, insanity, and death. Gonorrhea occasionally can produce death through involvement of the heart, but not often. That's rare.
Why aren't we doing more to prevent these diseases and to control them?
Well, we are applying all of the control measures we have at hand, and during the past 4 years, reported infectious syphilis has decreased about 1,000 cases per year across the nation. For gonorrhea, we don't have the control measures at hand to prevent the increases that are occurring. We don't have serologic tests, which is workable, that we can apply. We don't have the best diagnostic procedures that we can apply in large numbers. And the disease has increased about 15% each year for the past few years.
Syphilis and gonorrhea are serious problems in the United States today. Dr. Brown says syphilis, with the proper tools and educational materials and funds, can be conquered in 10 years. About gonorrhea, he doesn't know. Perhaps a less serious problem at the Texas Medical Association is not what to do until the doctor comes, but what to do while the doctor is right here. Normally, a convention of this size would have a first aid booth. Here, they have the little black bag, in this case brown, and in it are all the tools a doctor needs for primary treatment of a patient: a stethoscope, bandages, aspirin, and so forth. The theory behind this is, why set up a first aid booth at a doctor's convention? Because there are always doctors around. To illustrate this principle, is there a doctor in the house? Well, it was a good idea at the time. This is Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News.
After evaluating several proposals from the Park and Recreation Board and the Lake Worth leaseholders, the Fort Worth City Council has decided to continue leasing the land rather than selling it to the homeowners. New leases will be granted for a maximum of 25 years. However, the city may convert the property to public use at any time as provided in the terms of the lease. Upon expiration of the lease, it will either be converted to public use or renewed at the option of the city. The city will not reimburse the owner for any improvements unless the land is required for public use. A portion of the lease money paid to the city annually will be set aside each year in a special account for development of recreational areas around Lake Worth. Under the new city council policy, no new construction or capital improvements would be permitted without specific approval of the Park and Recreation Board. Commercial leases in the area are not affected by the new policy. Art Sinclair, Channel 8 News, Lake Worth. Recently, a storm of controversy was stirred here on the shores of Lake Worth when the City Park and Recreation Board decided that they would do away with all leases, which in effect would tear down all of the houses on Lake Worth, and a giant public park would be made out of this area. Lease owners on the lake were seeking to purchase their land from the city. Now they have suffered another setback. The City Council issued a policy statement to the news media this weekend, which informs the public that the Lake Worth property will continue to be leased at the option of the Fort Worth City Council. The new leases will be for 25 years and will be renewable at the pleasure of that existing council. No new constructions or capital improvements will be allowed without first getting permission from the Park and Recreation Board. The maximum value to be paid for the improvements on the lake property, if it's taken by the city, will be the market values on the properties at the time of the taking. No new streets or street lighting will be provided other than those necessary to serve the area when and if it's developed as park property. Commercial leases are unaffected by the new policy, and homeowners may sign new leases or they may continue with their present ones until their lease expires. Art Sinclair, Channel 8 News, Lake Worth.
Even if a woman came to me and that was 60 and wanted to look 20, there's no way in the world I could do that. I could make her look 45. And if this really boosts her morale, then it's well worth it to her. So not truly a fountain of youth, but a new spark in life, I think, is a good way to look at it.
Dr. Dunton, is the day coming when we can go to the hospital for a weekend and come back to work looking 20 years younger?
Well, not for the weekend. You may go at the hospital on Friday and come out on the weekend having the surgery done, but with a facelift or eyelids, it takes several days or weeks of healing before you're socially presentable again. I tell most of my facelift patients that they can expect at least 2 weeks before they're socially presentable, and sometimes 3. So not over the weekend.
I want to take the opportunity to thank all of my supporters and all the people that have worked so hard in the campaign. We've got an awful lot of folks and a real dedicated band of volunteers, and we've tried to carry our campaign forward on the issues and on an upright and direct manner, and I feel like that the people of Tarrant County have agreed with our side of the various issues we presented, and I hope that during the coming 30 days, assuming that we do have the runoff, that the people's interest will remain the same, and that come June the 6th, that we're going to ultimately be victorious.
Well, I haven't had a chance to analyze, of course, the precincts, precinct by precinct, but normally I'm a Democrat, and normally when you have a large turnout, the Democrats take the hard end of the ledger, and I think perhaps that's what's happened in the course of this campaign. I think you can couple that, and I think you can couple it with the fact that I was third on the ballot, and that's a factor too. If you're number 1 on the ballot, you pick up a few votes. Number 2 on the ballot, you pick up a few more, and if you're number 3 on the ballot, you don't get as many as the number 1 and number 2 people who are there. So I think the light turnout, our position on the ballot, I think this has had some factor in the outturn of today's campaign.